Hello, welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast brought to you by myself, Uncommon Fossil, and 10 Types.
Yep, that's right, everyone. And I do not stutter.
Yeah, I do stutter on occasion, as I just demonstrated there. So these high stress situations like recording the podcast tend to bring it out. Um,
Yeah, the greatest podcast of all time
I
that
think,
you should subscribe to and like. Yeah,
yes, what you did and hit the bell, right?
exactly. The bell, ring the bell, as some people say.
Yeah, and on your coming to you on your favorite podcast player as well. It should be. If you want to leave us comments, leave it on our YouTube channels, and we'd like to hear it, and we'll respond. And if we're not on a player, you could let us know, and we might be able to get it on it. We can see. So this is a Pokemon TCG podcast dealing with gameplay and such. And today, well, there was some news this past week, and first with a ban, right? Scoop Up Net was banned, so
Well, it will be banned.
it will be banned. Although I'm trying to look at what the card actually says as I read.
The article
Yeah,
or
well,
the
so
card.
Scoop Up Net, if you're not familiar with it, rotated a year ago. It's an item. You put one of your Pokemon that isn't a Pokemon V or a Pokemon GX into your hand. The V and GX were the only uh, multi-prize Pokemon in standard at the time it was printed. With EXs coming out, obviously, well, they weren't in the format at the same time anyway. But it's been banned. So here's what it says. This is from PokeBeach. I haven't been able to find the official notification from Pokemon, I have to say. So I'm just relying. PokeBeach is most likely accurate though, and I think Wasi's videos also had the
Yeah,
same
that's
information.
PTCG Radio.
Yeah,
That channel.
yes, in the text. So it's being banned from expanded. It's not in standard because it can remove these other Pokemon, in particular Iron Valiant EX, because then with the Tachyon Bits ability, you can do the 20 damage, scoop it up, and keep recycling and get a ton of damage into play quickly. And it does make Donk pretty strong. And I had a video, I think I uploaded it the other day, just showing why that's not fun. And I built the Iron Valiant expanded deck, and the games aren't good. You win a lot. On get turn one, you take a long turn, and if you don't win turn one, you just concede. So your opponent just sits there, stares at you, and either loses or they win when you concede. It just is not healthy for the game.
Yeah. Wait. So, quick question: how many games did you play, and how many did you win?
Yeah, that's a good question. I went about 500, so I was maybe 3-3, 4-4.
Wow. Okay. So I played Donk as well. I tried it. My list wasn't amazing, but like,
Yeah.
what Pokemon were you donking? Like,
Well,
was it just one?
the first game of my video, I felt really bad, and I felt dirty playing the deck. I gotta say, and I like a control deck, and I like milling deck, but somehow this deck I felt really bad with. My first opponent, they started a Magikarp, 30
And that's it.
HP, and that was it. So I basically they lost immediately, obviously, and I went first, and so that they had no chance. I felt bad for that person. Um, but you can't attack. Well, actually, you can attack. You can attack turn one, you going first and expanded with the grass Pokemon, which I'm blanking on what
Yeah,
it is.
Pheromosa GX. In live expand, by the way, live expanded has
Yes.
obviously it's smaller. In full expanded, there's Latias. No, is it Latias or I think it's Latias EX.
Hmm.
There are other Pokemon you can attack with turn one going first as well, like even in standard, but they don't do damage, like Bombardier EX and Raichu V and stuff.
Yeah, get you cards or dump your hands, things like that, right? But
Yeah,
it's not obviously very uncommon. You can damage. It does 30 damage, I think, grass
yeah.
type. And then there's the Machamp GX, I think, that copies basic any basic
Marshadow
Marshadow
GX.
that copies basics in the discard pile that then you can hit for fighting weakness and such. But you put on a ton of damage, and it is broken. I personally would have preferred them to errata Scoop Up Net to not be non-rule box, or which I think, because I think Scoop Up Net, like when you're playing the Italian engine, I think it was fair. I gotta say
Yeah, good, but yeah.
it was
So sorry.
strong,
A
but I
question
don't
about the
think.
Donk deck.
Yeah.
Um, were you beating like were all the games you're winning against a single prizer that they started, or did you ever one shot like a two prizer, a
um,
three prizer?
I believe I I knocked out a two prizer at one point. I know I came close to it, and I might have I know I won I could also take out multi low HP Pokemon. I think at one game I knocked out three Pokemon on my first turn.
Oh wow.
So I was like going, yeah, which is rough. Like each of them like 60 HP or something, but I was able to mow through them, and that's just too powerful. And you can you can knock out like a 200, 220 HP Pokemon, but you got to get a little lucky with that.
Yeah, I played Donk in the video, and I think I went like 2 and 10, or maybe 2 for 10. Like it was so like most of my pretty much every game my opponent started like a 200 something HP Pokemon. Not every game. Like one game I got lucky. No, like one game they started
Yeah.
like a 90 HP Pokemon.
Hmm.
One game I think they just like quit. I don't
During
remember,
your turn.
but I don't know. I think I might have quit like before the game. I don't know. Like during like it loaded and then they quit.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then half the games I lost, when I lost them, it was because it was a donk mirror, because this was like the day after the ban came out, so I think everyone else had the same idea. And then in those matchups, I was losing the coin toss, and they're all, tanky Pokemon in the deck, so um, the chances of winning were almost none. And then you could do like your 30 damage per turn the rest of the game, but I didn't want to see what would happen. Like the one game, neither of us
yeah.
donked the other person.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah, I did not run into Donk mirrors. I guess this was before Donk was really more popular. So like everyone, or no, I don't know. Maybe it was after. I didn't really donk anyone. It was pretty rough. I did like 10
okay,
games in like half an hour though. So
it was
that was
quick.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, look, you don't win. You're not going to make a ton of progress. It's a way potentially to play a bunch of quick games. That's I think how it was used on PTCGO. People could kind of run through a bunch of games quickly. Um, but it's
Yeah.
not healthy for the meta. So like I said, I wish it was errated. And they could do that. I think they probably need to reprint it, but they could reprint it as with the modification. I don't think it would ruin the game if they did that even now.
Yeah. But then I think that's about it for Scoop of Net.
Yep.
But one last thing, I'm going to advertise something because I originally wasn't going to do this, but we're kind of on the topic. Speaking of Donk, I'm running
Okay.
8 tournaments. Yeah, preferably don't play like a Donk. Or, I don't know if it's anyway. So I'm going to be running a tournament that's mutant standard, meaning there's mutant evolution. You can evolve into Pokemon of the same type. Yeah.
From
So anyway,
basic, like a psychic basic can become any psychic stage one, right?
yeah. Yeah, there's more details on the tournament page, which might be down below. I don't know. But anyway,
Okay.
I think it's time to move on to
For
the other
people that
thing we're
want
talking.
to do it, though, it's on Limitless, right? So they can
Oh, yeah.
search for it there.
We'll
Okay.
be on the 27th. It presumably it depends what time zone you're in, I suppose.
Okay.
But anyway, now we need to talk about the other thing that we'd mentioned it before, but that's rotation.
Yeah.
As you said, ScoopNet rotated last year,
Yep.
or yeah, last year. So
Yeah.
so now there are some new cards rotating, and for those of you who don't know what rotation is, every year essentially,
Yep.
Pokemon cards that came out, it's like 2 to 3 years ago, are
Hmm.
removed from the format, from the standard format, which is like the regular format,
Right.
I guess. And so then you cannot play those cards anymore. This means that the format is always the past 2 to 3 years worth of cards.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're losing battle styles, chilling rain, evolving skies, celebrations, fusion strike, expansions, and I don't know if there's another special one in there, but those are the main things that we're
Yeah,
losing.
Shining Fates. I don't think you said that, but there are
No.
some cards still in format from that,
Yeah.
which will be rotating.
So the cards from battle styles were were in standard for essentially a year. The ones from Fusion Strike were closer to 2 years because when they came out.
Wait,
Um,
what did you say? You mean
but
3 years?
battle styles was in format for almost 3 years, right?
Oh
Those
yeah, yeah.
the
Okay, I
Fusion
thought you
Strike,
said a year. Yeah.
yeah, no, was two years for Fusion Strike, just over 2 years.
Okay, so
So just talk
uh,
about some of the cards we're going to miss and what it might mean. So I guess the first thing, look, it's the battle style set is the first set to rotate, and obviously the battle styles are a huge thing we're losing. I don't know how much we're going to dig into them, but obviously we have the first came out the Rapid Strike, the Fusion Strike, obviously the Urshifus for both
no, single strike.
single strike, Rapid Strike, yeah, and the Urshifus were the poster Pokemon for those sets.
Yeah, I think they were fun. The single strike one. So the mechanic, single strike is it does like one. It does like you do big damage.
Yeah.
And then rapid strike you do like spread and also switching.
Yes.
Um, you can kind of look at them like ancient versus future. They're pretty similar, but I feel like the single strike one was like kind of mediocre. It was decent, and the rapid strike one was quite good because it was like pretty versatile and the best spread attacker I think we've seen. I was gonna say ever. I don't know if that's true, but like if you like ignore power creep, like because it obviously does more than older cards, it might be the best spread Pokemon like ever.
Maybe
But it's very good.
but Rapid Striker Urshifu in particular, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I don't know if that's true. That's a bit of a bold claim, but it's very good, and it was probably the best spread card for pretty much its whole time in standard.
Yeah, I mean it's still a viable deck, right? Some of the things we're going to talk about were good at a time and not good now. This was good most of its time. You know, a top 10 deck most of the time. Probably not quite all, but a lot of the time. And actually, the flexibility's got Gale Thrust, which does 150 if it swings into the active for 1 energy, which is nice. We will see that it had some healing options too that we're losing. That's a big loss, I think, depending on what you want to do. And then the Rapid Strike Gmax Rapid Flow that does 120 to 2 Pokemon, discard all the energy. So that was kind of in the theme of the Rapid Strike style. And
Um,
go ahead.
yeah, I think so. I think so you're just talking about Cheryl um
Yes.
from this set, which is good. Professor Terrasnero, in my opinion, kind of replaced it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that's as big of a loss, but we'll get to that in a second.
Cheryl. Well,
Yeah,
there's a new Pokemon that wants Cheryl, right? And I forget what it is now, and you're going to yell at me for not knowing. But anyway, um,
I'm not sure what Pokemon you're talking about.
oh no. Okay. All right. I'll take a
What's it
look.
like to do?
Do you want me to try? You want to know what that is now? Let
Yeah,
me.
sure. Tell me what it does. Like, what type is it? Tell me something.
I'm trying to remember which set it was. Let's see.
Is it Torterra EX?
Was that the one? Maybe.
I don't know.
One of them
You said
attacks
there's a
for one
card.
energy. Now, let's think. Once I
Well,
mentioned
there are a
Torterra,
lot of Pokemon that
there's
attack
a
for one energy.
Whimsicott. Let's think. I don't
It's
think
not the
it's an
Whimsicott.
ancient. It's
The
not ancient or
Whimsicott heals.
future. What's Sen?
No.
Oh no, Centiskorch. That one we're losing Spicy Curry. That hurts that deck.
Yeah. No, is that I think that's your opponent's Pokemon.
Is it?
I
But
think Scorch
well,
is yeah, your
well, Spicy
opponent's.
Curry does both, doesn't it?
No, it just does
Just you.
it does you. Yeah, you heal yourself
All
40,
right.
remember? It's like extra healing, but then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then you burn yourself. So it's actually like less healing, but it's different.
All right. I can't remember. Was it Espathra
What?
EX? I don't remember. I
No,
don't remember.
I don't know what card.
There
I
was a
think you might be
stage
talking
two
about Torterra.
Pokemon that could attack for. It had a decent attack for 1 energy.
Yeah, okay.
It
So
was high HP.
yeah, okay. So Torterra EX is probably it, which we'll
Okay.
mention now, I guess. It's grass stage 2, and it
Mm-hmm.
has the Grottle. I think that's the right one that searches for a grass Pokemon, which will be
Right.
starting form rotation. And then your attack
Yes.
Forest March, which some people are saying is like a weird attack name. So it kind of sounds like Night Martian. But anyway, it does for one grass on as a stage 2, 340 HP.
Which is
It
very
does
nice.
Yep, 30 damage for each grass Pokemon you have in play, which is not bad. In fact, that could be very good.
And right in Grottle, Torterra stays in format, and so it's got some synergy certainly with the Grottle.
Yep. So I think this the one you're thinking of?
And it has an attack for 1 energy, doesn't it? It has 2
Yeah,
attacks,
yeah.
right?
No, that is the one energy attack.
Yeah. So that's not bad, right? And you can heal full heal, and you're not getting one shot unless you're weak to them. So I would like to have Cheryl in that deck.
Yeah, no,
It-
I agree. But
and
I
I'd like
think Terror Scenario. Well, I think let's just talk about Cheryl now. So for
yeah.
Cheryl, for those who don't know, it's a supporter card. Heal all damage from all of your evolution Pokemon.
Yep.
If you do, then you discard all energy attached to all the Pokemon you healed in this way. So
Right.
it's really good with 1 energy, big HP evolution Pokemon like this Torterra, like Urshifu.
Right.
But it's rotating.
Right. In the it came out in the battle style set in an attack like the battle styles. The Urshifu, the Rapid Strike, when you use the second attack, you discard all your energy. So now you can heal it up fully without having to discard your energy. And with a single strike with the GMAX, one blow does 270, plus it gets boosted based on the Rapid Strike energy. So you can one shot most Pokemon. You discard your energy with that. So once again, you could Cheryl it again. So without losing energy because you're out of energy. So there was synergy within the cards when it came out.
Yeah. Um, so that's the thing. But then, and I think the single strike Urshifu, like it was 4 energy that one, which is a lot. There's a
Yes.
Houndoom to power it up, but like
Right.
it was kind of awkward.
Right. Well, right. So the Houndoom's important and the Actillery. Right? So the Houndoom is a single strike. They're both stage one. So Houndoom with the ability single strike roar, you could attach a single strike energy for your deck. Search your deck for a single strike energy, which you can only have 4 of course. Attach it to one of your single strike Pokemon. You put two damage counters on it, but ultimately, you could get up to 4 Houndoom in play in theory at least, so you can stack multiple ones, power things up quickly. And then you had the recovery card. Was
Earn
it
a Vitality.
Earn a Vitality? Yeah, that put back up to 2, an item that put back up to 2 rapid strike energies from the discard into your deck. So if you got set up, it was good. You didn't have space for an engine though, and that was I think the big issue with the single strike deck in general.
Yeah. Or yeah, you have all this bench space, or you like all these bench Pokemon which don't all fit there. And
Right.
then I think or actually no, you can probably highlight this one. Do you want to highlight Bronzong and Corviknight, which kind of go together?
Okay, which were not on my list, I got to say.
Oh, they weren't, but you love Corviknight.
Yeah, I like Corp, but it's not. And I just did a video on it, but I understand what's not a good Pokemon. And I didn't like Bronzong. You're the Bronzong fan, so Corviknight
That's
VMAX.
true. I'll talk about Bronzong after.
So Corviknight VMAX at 320 HP, which is pretty standard. Illustrious Body, it prevented all effects from your Pokemon abilities done this Pokemon. And what we'll get to it later, but the Chilling Ray Inteleon is rotating that did the pinging. But back in that doesn't get played now because you lost the Inteleon that searches for cards, right? But there was a bunch of that in
Yeah, and
formats,
Drizzile.
right?
More
The
important.
Drizzile and what was the ability now? Wow, I'm blanking on that.
Shady Dealings.
Shady Dealings, right? It was the same ability for both. Search for one or two trainers. So the pinging helped for sure. And then Gmax Hurricane did 240, couldn't attack next turn, but had free retreat, so you could set it up free retreat, or you could play it with Cheryl again to do the healing if you got damaged, and then you'd use Bronzong with that. So you want to talk about the Bronzong?
Yeah, Bronzong is an interesting card. So it has its ability Metal Transfer here, and it's similar to some other cards we've seen, and some other cards that are actually still in format, some that are rotating. But it's a good card. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a Metal Energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon. And it doesn't have to be a basic energy, so it could be special energies. There
Right.
have been numerous, some which actually are only sometimes metal energies, such as luminous and reversal energy. So you could actually move them onto a Pokemon and then not be able to move them off, which is kind of funny.
Yep.
But anyway, so it was really good. Well, I don't know if it was ever really good, but one of my favorite decks ever
Mm-hmm.
I played was ADP.
With
Um,
Bronzong.
With Bronzong, yeah. So I didn't actually play it with Bronzong that much, but there's from the set Team Up, which rotated like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Um, because rotation is like every year, but the time it happens actually changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Last year they shifted it by like 6 months.
yeah. Um, to sync up with Japan. Japan has slightly different, or has drastically different, like they get cards earlier and they have different
Right.
things, like with the Scoop of Net ban, which we talked about, happened earlier in Japan. I don't know if we said that, but
Yeah. No, we didn't.
so yeah.
But
So anyway, but there's a team up Bronzor which could evolve turn one going second. I
mm-hmm.
mean, you could do this. Then there's stuff like Metal Saucer, so you could accelerate energy and just get lots of energy in play and really do whatever you want with it. You can also do, as I said, like there's Aurora Energy, Luminous Energy. And some of you, I imagine, are familiar with the Armarousion format right now, which moves fire energy from your bench to your active. Bronzong is very similar to that. Um, Honestly, like they're not the same, but they're very
Mm-hmm.
similar and they're pretty cool. And I think they're fun. Like moving energy around, it gives you some versatility. Same thing as the Aromatisse as well from I think X and Y base
Mm-hmm.
set, which saw some play. I don't know exactly how good it was. I think it was okay.
We didn't play that, but yeah. So look, Bronzong was good once you set it up. Obviously, did you set it up in time to start doing what you needed to do was always a question that I felt it didn't work often enough for me, but it had a lot of upside when it worked.
Yeah, definitely. And then let's see what else was from this set that's really cool. Oh,
Well,
I guess. Well,
we need to mention Octillery, right? We mentioned the Houndoom, the comparable one, which was actually better for Rapid Strike, was Octillery because this was a draw engine, which is the stage one Rapid Strike search. You got to search your deck for only one Rapid Strike card. It was very good. And back when it was out initially, you had the Inteleon engine to get your trainers, and this could get you a one Rapid Strike Pokemon, Rapid Strike support trainer, which they had, or a Rapid Strike Energy. And this is part of, to me, with the ancient and future, the Paradox Pokemon, they're just not as fully developed as these battle styles, I would say.
yeah, and it looks like they're not attempting to do that. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't want to say this, but it might be true that our next expansion will be the last set to have ancient future Pokemon, or at least
Hmm.
like mostly. We might have some runoff, but we might
Yeah.
have seen all the ancient future Pokemon. I thought that before though, and then we saw a bunch more, um, like a few more
Hmm.
recently revealed. I think this past week, which I think we talked about on our channel some, but
Yeah.
I think like there are evolutions, aren't special energy, so the battle styles, but they are comparable mechanics. Right, battle styles, ancient future, Team Plasma, Ultra Beast, all those are kind of like the
Hmm.
same thing.
Yeah, the ancient and future Pokemons feel, in terms of the breadth of them, more like the Fusion Strike, which was a battle styles that only came at the end, which was a much smaller set of cards, right? In a sense, it's kind of got that level, smaller level of development. The Rapid and Single, there are a bunch of multiple solid decks you could play in each of them, which made them fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So and then I think we should mention the special energy. Shouldn't really say what they did.
mhm,
Rapid Strike is two energies. It's water. So they're kind of types, right? Rapid and Single
yeah,
Strike. They're both fighting, but then Rapid is like water and fighting's, or sorry, and then Single Strike's darkness.
yeah,
Is in addition to fighting, but like it was kind of weird. Not all the a lot of the Pokemon aren't that type. I don't think there are like Rapid and Single Strike Pokemon of all the types. Like I don't think there's a Single Strike Water Pokemon and vice versa. But like
okay,
for the most part, like we're going to talk about some cards that aren't that like have issues because they need a certain type of energy, but
right.
it's
They're
not the
not
same
the
type.
type that these are, but the Rapid Strike in particular, Rapid Strike I think was the better type in general, and getting two energies on a single attachment is always very nice.
Yeah, versus Single Strike, which gave you extra damage,
Yeah.
20 extra to your opponent's active, which is something we've seen again before.
Hmm.
And it was very good before, and it was good in Single Strike, but obviously limited to Single Strike Pokemon, which were okay. We've seen it with Lugia as well, some recently. So
Yeah.
uh, anyway, and that's funny because it's like Lugia and Archeop specifically is very much like Houndoom, but it just like better.
Yeah, well, right,
Uh,
because it's anything, and
yeah,
you,
and it's two.
right, instead of one, yes. So you get a lot more energies into play easier, right? So once you get the Archeop set up, of course, that is the struggle there for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
What else do you have to showcase from this set? I'm
okay,
interested in
in
hearing.
terms of rapid and single strike cards, there's a couple, at least one. Well, the stadiums were
Oh,
good.
there's one I forgot. Yeah.
So we've got well, this one I like. You're not going to say it's important, but Bruno, I think that was a useful card for a number of decks. It's a single strike supporter. One of those supporters that doesn't necessarily go in single strike decks, but shuffle your deck, draw four, shuffle your deck, draw seven if you're knocked out. And seven was at that time was as many cards as you could get in your hand with any type of draw thing. So that was good, and it had a card later on that paired with it. I think. Um,
What do you mean paired with it?
Welcome
Like,
a Lantern.
oh no, yeah, that was this set. Oh, was that? Oh
No, I
no, that
think
wasn't
that
this set.
was
That was the next set.
that's
That was
Chilling Rain.
anyway. Oops, but that card wasn't like that good.
Oh, yeah, but you didn't play the decks I played. I
No, I played the same. I introduced you to it, but it
Little
wasn't good.
Lunatone Soul Rock with Bruno and Welcome Your Lantern was very solid. But anyway, let's save that fight for later. And then there's a Rapid Strike item card that saw a lot of play and still sees a lot of play, or some play, and that's Echoing Horn,
That
right?
was in the next set.
Was it? Well,
Yeah, Panda Waves was this set.
I
Yeah, yeah.
apologize. Yeah.
All out of sorts.
So,
Um,
so the two stadiums for Rapid and Single were important. Tower of Waters, which did your switching for your Rapid Strike cards. I don't know if we need to say more about that. And then Tower of Darkness, the single strike that you get to which that was the single strike engine. if you had to get that in play, you discard a single strike card and drew 2 cards.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say something about the names of the card. So Tower Waters it's plural waters, so I feel like it should be Tower Darknesses. That's just my thought there.
Okay.
Um, I think
Very
there are a few
insightful.
exactly, and then we got the goats here. We got the mustards. That's right,
All
rapid
right.
strike style and single strike style mustard.
Yeah, I only have one
You,
of them on my list.
yeah, this is the single strike one.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but so they are pretty much the same. So there are 2 cards called Max's Hidden Ball Trick and Archie's Ace in the Hole. One which was actually banned and expanded, which is still banned and expanded. It probably doesn't need to be banned and expanded anymore. I honestly think it's a little overrated.
Mhm.
But they are wacky cards. You can only play it if it's the last card in your hand, and then you get a Pokemon directly. Just put into play and draw 5 cards. For Rapid Strike, the Pokemon needs to be from the discard. Single Strike, it needs to be in your deck. But yeah, you just slap a Pokemon onto your bench, which can be a stage 2.
Right.
The best partner was in Chilling Rain.
Yep.
There have been a few options. You could play the Rapid Strike Mustard with Urshifu.
Mhm.
Someone like messaged me, it's like, yeah, I just got like blown up by like Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX turn 1. So
Yep.
that is a thing you technically can do. I've tried it. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really fun though. There isn't a lot of discard right now. Before
It
Paradox
was
Rift,
mhm.
it was just Ultra Ball. Like it was, well, okay, there were like other things, but
Right.
for like item and for the way to just like do it, like it was just Ultra Ball. Then we got
Uh, the
Earthen Vessel
yeah,
and
Earthen Vessel.
Iron no the one that searches like the Iron Valiant. Techno Radar, there we go. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
discard, but they're not like that good. Um
Yeah.
so yeah, and that's like it.
Well,
But before you had some other things.
yeah. Well, Earthen
So
Vessel's a good card, right? That they
oh yeah, it's good, but it's not necessarily great. And well, Mustard's not the best.
right. Well, before a year ago, before rotation a year ago, we had the Galarian Meowth, right? That could discard any 2 cards in your hand whenever you once per turn. So that was super good. And we even had the year before that rotated, so even other options, which really helped set this up.
Yeah, and then also Quick Ball. Quick Ball, when you had Quick
Oh
Ball and
yeah.
Ultra Ball, um, we'll talk about it. But anyway, so any other cards you want to talk about from this set? I have a few more, but
Um, look, well, even though the Rapid Strike Pokemon were better, the Rapid Strike Earth Mustard was worse because you had to get the cards in the discard to pull it off, and that made it even harder. Whereas the Single Strike was from the deck, so because you wanted to do it early, and you didn't want to have to discard them as well. I have one Pokemon to discuss.
is it the classic?
It's Durant. Is that
Yeah, that's what I was imagining.
so? I don't know if it was you wanted to mention, but with the Devour, gotta play the mill, and this is one I gotta play before rotation. Devour for 2 energy, so when DTE powers it up. It used to have the twin energy as well. We had to say goodbye to that. But for each Durant to play, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So 4 Durants, potentially turn 1, milling 4 cards. Right? It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, of course it was very hard to mill to 4. Like it's
Yeah,
hard to consistently mill 4.
you
But
could mill 3 decently though. I think.
yeah, but for any mill fans, or for any people who aren't fans of mill as well,
Yes.
there's a new mill card coming out that in my opinion is better than Durant.
Hmm.
Um, it's I almost said it's Iron Tusk. No, it's Great Tusk. Yeah, there you go, Great
Great.
Tusk.
Okay.
If I think you need to play a single or an ancient supporter, but then for 2 colors on the basic, you mill 4,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
So that is like directly better, essentially. Not tight exactly, but pretty close.
Yes, yeah, I like Mill, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. Hopefully, it doesn't get too good because Mill is also not fun to play against. I will say.
Yeah. But okay, then I have a few more cards I want to talk about.
Okay.
There's a Salazzle. That is a thing. It is like a special condition deck.
Okay.
There is
Yep.
Cherim. Cherim, hot take, super underrated card. I don't know if this is a hot take. Arguably it has one of the best abilities ever. It's like Baxcalibur. So you accelerate as much, in this case, grass energy, as you want, but
Yeah.
to your Pokemon, but it's your non-rule box Pokemon,
Right.
which is a big downside. Uh,
Yeah, that's a big deal.
so, and then grass is obviously notoriously pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's actually coming back a little with there's Snorlax, there's Regidrago. There are a few things, but it's okay.
Right. Imagine you could do it with a different type of energy. It would have been much stronger. I would think.
Yeah, I imagine. Like if it was water, it'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
The next up we have Kricketune V, that was decent. Victini V Max,
Yeah.
probably my most hated deck of all time. It's certainly up there. It just like didn't do anything. You just like attack with Victini over and over again. It doesn't really, if you don't know what it does, it doesn't really matter. It just attacked. It
It
was
only
fine.
worked when your opponents were playing VMAX V Pokemon because once it's like you could play it now, but you're doing 100 damage with your VMAX Pokemon to like an EX Pokemon, and you're just not going to get anywhere with that.
Yeah. And then there's also and then like water was good for a while as well. Tapu Koko V Max was a deck.
Yep, that was
I mean,
a strong. It was not played a ton, but
yeah.
it was strong.
Yeah, okay. I said it's not really a deck. It's like a tech option in Arceus.
Right.
And then there's also, of course, for any fans of balls out there, there's Glamour Mr. Rhyme with ball juggling, and then there's Yamper. There's Mimikyu V. Gonna miss that dearly. Fun little control card. Orbeetle. I said someone was like, you should make a video. I was like, oh, that's a cool deck. It was trash. I never made a video. It like never set up.
Mhm.
There are a few Stonjourner and Tyranitar V are actually they're played in single strike Lugia.
Right. Stone Turner is a single prize.
Yeah. And then there's one that I forgot. What was it?
Empoleon V.
No, that one was okay. Oh yeah. No, of course. And of course we got Perugly with Catterday. Yeah, that was the thing.
After
A while
there's
ago.
nothing else in format to work for it to work
Yeah,
with.
for those of you who don't know, there's a deck Catterday that both Uncommon and Fossil and I played as one of our early decks.
Yeah.
Like quote serious deck. I don't know. Anyway, so it was a deck.
It was a decent deck, I think.
I guess, yeah. So at times it certainly was, but like
Yeah.
it came out the thing that came out with it came out in Unbroken Bonds, which rotated like 2.5 years ago, which is a while
Yeah.
ago.
Right. So they printed this one, which I guess they were in format together very briefly, right?
Yeah. Wait, I think I said Bronzor rotated a year and a half, and then Catterday rotated I don't know. I think 2.5 is the right year.
Okay.
I'm not sure. No, that could be wrong. I don't know. It rotated like 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. And then you got to figure out with the shifting of things. Yeah. So, and I have a couple more trainers to mention. I don't. Do you have any more Pokemon?
No.
All right. And there's two big trainers, I would say, right?
Raptor, Scroll of Swirls, and Single Strike Scroll of Score.
No, that would not be it. So, do you want to jump to the big two? I think
Yeah, let's go.
This one, I don't know if you'd put it in the big two, but it's a level ball. I think is a very strong card, and I will miss it. Search your deck for a Pokemon 90 HP or less. Reveal it, and obviously with the Gardevoir Dex gets your Kirlia, so it's still a very good card. It gets you basic Pokemon, and we have the new card coming out, the Buddy Poffin.
Buddy Poffin, something, yeah.
I believe, which comes out in Temporal Forces when this rotation hits, so it replaces. But you search for up to 2 basic Pokemon, 70 HP or less, put them onto your bench. The advantage of this, though, it can go up to 90, which can be helpful. They don't go on your bench, so you could discard them, especially back when you had Quick Ball and such. There's decks that want to get Pokemon things in the discard or thin your deck. Sometimes you just don't want to play them down, too. If you want to thin your deck before you Iono because I need card X, just increase your odds there. And also it gets you your stage 1s, which is very nice.
Yeah. So, and even stage 2s in some decks. Not Jump Off. Just Jump Off.
Okay.
And then, which you wouldn't actually search out because you want it in your deck. But anyway.
Right.
And then the other card I'm assuming is Escape Rope, right?
Yes.
And that is switch. It's a switch, but then your opponent also has to switch.
Mhm.
Honestly, I don't think this card's that good. I think it's like fine. I mean, no, I think it's good, but I feel like switch is like about as good, which is staying.
Right. Well, what it did is if you had boss in hand as well, and your opponent had an effect based from a last turn's attack that they were immune to you, then you could reset that. Right. That's kind of how the value of it.
Which isn't like that common at all.
Yeah. Well, actually, the place where it's more often useful is and you have to worry about it too from your own position. If you only have one Pokemon on the bench, then it's as good as a boss, right? And you have to think about that at times.
Yeah.
I need this Pokemon on my bench to survive next turn. If they play Rope, which is always a possibility. I'm going to bench a second Pokemon that I don't really want to play, but maybe I need to bench it just for the rope possibility.
Yeah, no, I think rope's like a decent card. Um, I've honestly been like dropping all my ropes for switches. But no, I think rope's like a decent card. But I think some people are saying it's gonna like change the game drastically,
Hmm.
and I don't think it's gonna really change the game much.
This is probably the biggest card for standard decks right now that we're losing from Battle Styles. I think. Could be wrong.
Yeah, that's probably true. But it's not like there are other great cards. There are other like staples.
Right. I mean,
In
obviously,
other
like the single strike, rapid strike are very good, but they're their own decks, so that doesn't apply to decks in general.
Yeah. And then I think one last supporter I want to talk about. Oh, there's
Okay.
Tool Jammer as well. Tool Jammer is like
Yep.
it stops tools. It's not a huge deal, but it does stop TMs, which is like a thing.
At one point in the time, though, it wasn't important. It was played in a number of decks, Tool Jammer, right? Particularly, I think with Air Balloon was for a period of time the only switching that decks generally played. So if you could stop that, for instance, it was effective.
Yeah, a Tool Jammer isn't like a bad card, but it doesn't see much play. It's not that good. But then
No.
and then also in my opinion, probably like one of the worst supporters. I was gonna say ever. It's not one of the worst ever, but it's pretty bad. It's Sword Wind Shieldbert. It's essentially a direct downgrade from Hop, which is pretty bad. So or Pneumonia. No, Pneumona. It's Pneumona. Yeah. Um,
Okay.
it's like it's worse than draw three. It's draw three, or you can recover a Subterranean from your discard, but your opponent chooses. So pretty much they're gonna like make you sad all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was not good. Oh, Fan of Waves is rotating, right? That's a card that we didn't mention that, did
Yeah,
we?
that sees some play.
Yeah. I mean, control decks, Palkia, V Star would play it still.
I mean, it could. I don't think it plays it now. I don't think so.
It could. You could play it with Iron Valiant, right? You want to get something to wipe out again.
No, Echoing Horn is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Fan of Waves. I am blanking on things. You're right. Fan of Waves with the special energy, but yeah, saw it play at one point, but
Yeah.
fell
Anyway,
off.
so now Chilling Rain.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
Sorry.
Echoing Horn. So Echoing
Yes.
Horn is, as you said, it's an item. But you put a basic Pokemon for your opponent's discard pile onto their bench, which
Hmm.
is a pretty big deal. There
Yeah.
are some replacements, but they are attacks. And the main idea here is that it can do two things. As you said with Palkia, you can use it to or other decks, you can use it to bring a Pokemon back and then just KO it.
Right.
Which can give you some easy prizes.
Yep.
Or you can also use it in control decks, and obviously control decks
Yeah.
are so fun and
Like
they
Snorlax, which is so hard to set up, right?
exactly.
Right. You just bring up your opponent gets something in discard pile. You don't have to use your attack. You can just bring it back and get into play with Echoing Horn, gust it up, and your opponent is stuck there. So obviously, it's been a dangerous card.
Yeah. And it's good. I'm sad we're losing, but I'm sure some people aren't.
Yeah. Look, I mean, yeah. Look, Snorlax is powerful. I think we're getting at least one card that's going to make Snorlax better. A supporter, right? I think it is.
Yeah, it's Airy. That might not be the right supporter. There's some like card that discards
It
items from your opponent's hand.
discards what, up to 2 items, I think, or something. They reveal their
think so.
hand, discard, I think, 2 items. So that will help go in like a Snorlax deck. So losing a piece like Echoing Horn, I'm glad for it in that sense.
Yeah. In terms of other trainers from the set,
Hmm.
well, there's Path, right? So,
Yeah.
Path, in my opinion, is the biggest loss to rotation, or is the biggest game changer.
Right.
Path to the Peak is a stadium. What do you want to say something?
I think it's probably the biggest gain with it rotating, from my perspective. Depending, right?
That
Depending,
could be.
but it's a huge game changer.
Yeah. It says Pokemon with the rule box in play, both yours and your opponent's. Obviously, that's how
Yep.
stadiums work. Have new abilities. So this turns off most notably Genesect. I guess not Genesect because they play Path. It turns off a lot of things, right? It's like really
Right.
brutal for
Well,
some
right.
decks.
Lumineon V, which is still played, right? Iron Valiant gets shut down, so we can get more Iron Valiant Donk maybe after rotation.
Exactly. Yep, that's right.
And Charizard EX, which is a good deck now, but
Oh yeah, Charizard.
and
That's a big one.
Pidgeot EX. I mean, what are you going to? I mean, how can you not just play Pidgeot EX in every deck now without Path? You probably don't, but I'm just saying you got to. It goes in more decks then, right?
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, so Path is rotating. There
Yep.
are other forms of ability lock, but they're not as
Yeah.
good. like they're substantially worse. There's Tinglu EX, there's
Right.
Klefki, there's some other one. There's the one that's like Miss Magios and Misdreavus, the Fluttermane, there we go, that's coming out in the next set. But
The one that shuts down your opponent's active Pokemon's ability? Is that the one?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But obviously, it's a stadium. It's easy to get in place. Shuts down, obviously, a lot. It shuts down your Radiant Pokemon's abilities as well. So it shuts down your Radiant Greninja or your Charizard. Radiant Charizard can't attack then unless you get 5 energies on it, things like that.
Yeah. So that's a pretty big loss.
Yeah. I think
Let's see. I think
there's a bunch of good trainers here in this set.
yeah. What else is? I know some of the ones you're gonna say, and I'm
I'll
gonna.
say they're bad. One of my favorites here is Melanie. We're saying goodbye there. So that's
Yep.
been a real favorite of mine. Attach a water energy to one of your Pokemon V.
From your discard.
From your discard pile to one of your V, which was a way to stream Urshifu V Maxes, right? We saw Tord was one of the first players to run that deck successfully. And obviously, we had like Ice Rider, we'll get to that came out in this set. That's kind of what it was there for, right? And we had when Suicune came out and stuff, just really good at setting things up. And you accelerate energy and draw 3 cards. Very nice.
Yeah. Kind of like Welder, which was a classic card. Honestly, a card that now that I look back on, like I think it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it wasn't as good as people thought. Like I think it had all the support as well. I mean, it was really good, but I think it like
Oh,
um,
right. The other supporters, including the items that went with it in the stadium to get the energies into hand and stuff, was tremendous. And I played probably more Wilderness decks than you, and it was still very high roll. Like you got Welder turn 1, everything was good. You missed Welder turn 1, you just lost the game.
I don't know if I'd quite go that far, but
No, but it was a big swing
you
potentially.
could definitely miss Welder. As you miss Welder turn 1 and turn 2, you probably lose, which
Yeah.
you can definitely do, but you wouldn't do it like all the time. Anyway, so Melanie is less polarizing, more consistent.
Yeah, well, it's 1 energy instead of 2 energy with Welder, right? So it's a more balanced card, I think.
Yeah, and then I do wish it didn't have to go into V, so it would be obviously better if it didn't, and probably more interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then also we have Peonia. Peonia is one of my favorite cards ever. A card that I've never been able to fully utilize. One that I think has been underplayed. It's mostly played in Control and
Right.
yeah, mostly Control. So you could play it in other decks though, but it's a supporter that says put up to 3 prize cards into your hand.
Yep.
No,
that's
there's
not
more.
all it says. That's not all it says. And if you've already taken 3 prize cards, you win the game. No, all right.
Yeah, no. And then for each prize you put from your hand, from each prize card you put into your hand this way, put a card from your hand face down as a prize card. So pretty much you can look at half your prizes or potentially more, potentially less. That would be very unlikely, but
right.
You look at like half your prizes or whatever,
and it was
then
usually
you can, like,
half your prizes because a lot of it was Control style decks that weren't taking prizes.
Yeah, but there were some other decks.
Yeah.
And then you can put cards back, right? So you get cards that you want out.
Yeah.
But the underrated part is you can put cards in, and then you can guarantee to get them later when you take KOs, which is an underrated part of it, and why I think it's been played a lot in Control, and it's kind of necessary for Control.
Yeah.
Kind of like Gladion, but Gladion is a very different card. Or Hisuian Heavy Ball as well, right? Hisuian Heavy Ball is just there to take stuff out of your prizes. It does technically put stuff in your prizes, but it's useless stuff.
Well,
So,
and it shuffles your prizes.
Yeah, it
Peonia
shuffles as
does
well.
not shuffle your prizes, so you know what those 3 prizes are, and hopefully you remember for later when you go to draw.
Yeah, and so that's like super useful. Something that I think is not utilized enough as well.
Yeah.
I think it could have been used more, and I think some people use it, but very few. It's hard to use.
Yeah, it's hard to use, and obviously you don't get another supporter for turn, and you might not get anything useful off of it. So that it just that's why it was usually Control decks that the only way you could access certain key cards in a deck. And since we called it up and I typed in PEO under trainers, I Peony's right here, which we're losing as well, and that's actually seeing more play now in some Miraidon decks, right? You discard your hand, search for 2 trainers. It saw niche play, is what I'd say.
Yeah. It's kind of nice. It's kind of bad because you obviously lose your whole hand,
which can be rough. So you have to have obviously certain decks built to it. Back and also before the previous rotation, when you could get a You get Evo Incense and we had Rare Candy, which you still have, but we lost Evo Incense. This was just search for an evolution Pokemon. Then you could get a stage 2 into play automatically. You can't do that now though.
No. Unless it's jump off.
Yes, in which case you probably have a simple. You probably don't need to do all this work to get it.
And then I think that's all the good supporters from this set.
Supporters. I want to mention Clara. I know you don't like it.
Yeah.
But it's good. It was good. It's important in some decks, and it has value, right? I think some deck right so put up to 2 Pokemon and or 2 basic energies from the discard pile into your hand, so you get them right into your hand. Unlike Rod, which is your item, which is generally better than a supporter if you don't have to use your supporter, but they go into hand. So up to 2 Pokemon, especially evolution Pokemon, it can be it's an important card at times.
Yeah. And then from the set, I think we can talk about Pokemon. Oh, Fog Crystal, that's a good card. It searches for basic
Yes.
Psychic Pokemon, basic Psychic Energy, or one of those 2, which is nice in Psychic decks.
Right.
And then, yeah. Oh, this is the start of the gloves as well. Those
Yeah,
are
I
very.
didn't list those. Oh, there is one other supporter. I
No,
apologize.
there's. Oh, Brawley, yeah. There's Brawley.
No, there's the best supporter ever, and that's Avery.
Caitlyn.
Your most hated supporter of all time, I
This
believe,
card's,
right?
no, I'm gonna like start losing all my games because my opponents are gonna start playing like good cards in the deck, and I'm gonna be like,
You hate Avery. You hate
it's
it
no,
with a passion.
well, I don't hate it. It's just bad, right? Like
Well, it's
just not
situational.
a good
So
card.
what it
It's like
does is draw 3, and then your opponent
you
discards
lose.
down to 3 card Pokemon on bench, which means they get rid of the 3 prize Pokemon that are down with 10 HP less that go out of play, and the Suicune V that they played just to draw support that they can't attack with goes out of play. Right?
Yeah.
I mean Lumineon
Exactly.
V, not Suicune.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But so
And no, and then you're the one playing Suicune, and now you like are doing less damage, right?
well, I don't play it in Suicune, but look, there are decks that like wide benches, especially evolution wide benches, and it is troublesome for some people.
Yeah. I've heard that. I've never. I think there's one time like ever I've been like there was one game and that was the Orbeetle and I like Orbeetle and then they A-breed and I just quit. But like for the most part, like I've like essentially I've never been like destroyed by this card. I've been like it's done some
Some of it's
minor
the decks
annoyance,
you
but
probably
like
play. You don't like decks that need a whole bunch of low HP Pokemon to try to win, which I liked more.
yes. What even are those decks though? Like
Oh, I don't know.
Lost Zone. Like, I play Lost Zone, which is a low HP, lots of like big
Yeah.
bench deck, and I like you get A-breed and you're like okay, I've
I mean,
got like
back when you're playing
Comfy and some
Inteleon
like
decks, right?
Cramorant.
And you had like a Sobble and a Drizzile, and look, the problem is it can be good, but it gets played badly a lot. I think that's why you don't like
Okay,
it.
my question is why do you play it in like Gardevoir? It's literally just like garbage in that deck. Like you play Worker. Worker's not a great card, but it's an okay card.
Yeah,
But
well,
it's like directly better than Avery in that deck. Like it's so much drastically better than Avery, and people still play Avery and Gardevoir.
yeah, I don't know. Look, there are decks, like Lost Zone, you like to get your bench, all your comfies and whatnot, and you got, you have your Giratina, a couple comfies and stuff. You like to keep them around, right? A lot of times.
I guess I don't know.
You don't like it. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm happy. Oh no, I'm kind of sad it's rotating because, as I said, like I'm gonna like lose more games because my opponents aren't playing Avery anymore. They're gonna start being like better, but
Yeah.
maybe they'll start playing like Pneumonia or something.
I'm sure people
Frenching
will do
Galar.
things that you don't approve of still. All right, the last trainer under me is what you mentioned before, Welcoming Lantern Single Strike, which puts a single strike supporter, which was Bruno, was the only single strike supporter really that I saw use with. I guess you could make it work with the Mustard if this was your last card in hand, but put a
Yeah.
single strike supporter from your discard pile into your hand with Pokestop, which has seen a huge resurgence, and some of it in decks that don't quite make sense at times because they need their cards, but you discard cards, which includes your supporters. You put your items back into hand, which is your Welcoming Lantern. Boom, you can get your Bruno.
Yeah. No, this is kind of fun. Not the best. Well, it's like the issue is it's kind of like versus Seeker, but it's also like bad versus Seeker because it only like gets one card.
No, I get it. I get it. Look, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's not. It had some value.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really cool card. I think it wasn't really explored much at all. Like we didn't
Mhm.
get a lot of single strike supporters, so that was unfortunate.
Yeah, if there were some better other single strikes, although the rapid strike supporter like Karina's was the big one, and that wasn't too good either. We didn't even
Yeah,
mention it.
no, neither of them were that good.
Yeah, so comparing it to the ancient and future, they had better supporters than the battle
I don't know.
styles.
They've two.
Well,
Well, they
right
have
now,
one. And they're gonna get two.
well, actually, Fusion Strike may have been better, but like Sada's is better than either of these, any rapid or single strike supporter, I think.
Maybe I don't know, but like in turn, it's still not like a versus. You don't have like different ones.
That is true. Okay, I mean that's it for trainers for me from this set. I
Yeah.
don't.
Okay. So Pokemon. Let's. So we got to talk about Beedrill, right? Beedrill, the goat. Um.
Right. Which goes with which is works with mustard.
Yeah, it was like the only thing that saw play in Mustard, pretty much. But it says for one grass on the stage 2, if your opponent's active has any special energy, it's instantly KO'd, which
Right.
is nice. And obviously very powerful, because it's always a one shot. So that was a thing. You could also
Right.
do 110 for one, which isn't awful.
Right. And there was times when this was the big surprise tech because where most decks, all the strong decks were playing special energies, especially like when capture energy was around too. Then a lot of decks would throw capture in because it just made things better. And then all of a sudden you became afraid to play it because of this. And if it was a single prize deck, doing 110 for one energy isn't bad either.
Yeah, and then there's a time when this was like played in everything. I remember there's an Andrew Mahone
Yes.
video and you played it in like Jolteon, and that well it wasn't. And then someone played in like Gengar. Or I don't know. I don't remember if you made one, but
Everybody
like
did it. Yeah. The hard part
like
is
it,
you had to get mustard and get rid of every other card in your hand though, which still
yeah, and then
wasn't
draw
that
the
easy.
energy after and like have a way of switching.
That's true.
Um,
Yeah, because
there's a
right.
deck of Beefeon, which is a deck, but
Yeah, we don't need to. Which we liked. It wasn't a bad deck, but it wasn't the greatest thing ever either.
yeah, it was weird as well. We got okay. So this is your set, right? You like a lot of the cards from this set.
I do. So we'll save the best for last, I think. But so I mentioned Ice Rider before, which is tremendous. I like that. When I finally got it back in the day of uh, PTC Joe, things were expensive when they came out. But so I'm not finding it here, but to read it. But anyway, so it's a 320 HP, a solid attack. It was a consistent Pokemon. It didn't do quite big enough damage. I will grant you that. But Max Lance for 2 water energy, so Melanie was necessary with it. You discarded up to 2 energy from this Pokemon. If you do 120 per energy plus 10 for the base. So 250. There is a new card coming out that discards energy, but that doesn't have the plus 10, so it's only doing 240. So this might be, how's that compare? I'm not sure, but you weren't getting one shot generally, and well, early on metal was good, so that was a problem. But then you could almost knock things out, one shot things is what I'd say. But Melanie
Yeah,
drew you cards, and Ride of the High King was a solid attack too, for 2 energy, 30, 10 plus 30 for each Pokemon your opponent had on the bench. So you could knock out a lot of single prize Pokemon with that attack and not lose your energy. Or if you weren't going to one shot it with Max Lance, save the energies for the next turn.
yeah. Um, and then let's see what else is there. Oh, and then I think we should talk about Shadow Eye. Shadow Eye
Yeah,
Calyrex Max is so weird. I mean, it's not actually weird. It's pretty straightforward, but
yeah,
it's weird. So it has the ability. It's the same as Zadu. You accelerate a basic Psychic from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon. In this case, it has to be a Psychic Pokemon, and then you draw
right.
2 cards. You have an attack Max Geist, same attack as Mewtwo EX, the Terra Lightning Pokemon.
Yeah,
It
it's
does.
funny the way they split this one card into 2 cards now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But then it has a Max Geist doing 10 and 30 more for each Psychic attached to all
Yeah,
your Pokemon. You do need 3 energy on it though.
right.
So it was really good, right? It was like the best deck in format. There were some things
Briefly, right? Because of weakness too,
pre-rotation.
right?
Yeah, okay. So this was the weakness era, where we had like a weakness cycle.
Yeah,
There was no, it started with Dragapult, and then it turned to hit that for weakness, and then Urshifu hit that for weakness, and then Shadow Rider, and the next up we got Umbreon, and then it ended because Mewtwo Max was really good.
yeah. The problem is though, it was tough to get going. It took you a lot of turns for your damage, which is good. So if once you set up, you were good, but would you survive to get there, right? You kind of, if you could get like 3 VMAXs up by turn 2, you were good. If you couldn't get it but you kind of needed that to happen to be in a good position.
Yeah. Anyway, what else do you want to talk? I feel like we can't talk about all these cards, all the ones you want to talk about.
No. Look, we're losing to Gardevoir. That's a meaningful card to current decks. I don't really need to talk about it, but I don't know if you want to say anything.
I used to like the card, but now it's seeing top tier play, and now I don't like it as much.
That's with the Shining Arcana ability and the one you attack with, the single prize attacker.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And I have 4. So cast form, which I love. It's not any good. It was never very good, but just got to keep trying it. I'll try it again. I'm not very excited about trying it because it's just
Crisis Shot. You can use Crisis Shot and do like twice as much damage
when it comes out. But that comes out when this rotates, right?
No, it comes
out. Oh no, it's in the
probably
next set. That's right. So in a week from now, it's going to be all over the top meta deck, the cast form. So let's go.
Exactly. Yep.
Blissey V, which I've enjoyed. You never really liked that too much. A solid tanky, basic V Pokemon. You don't want to say anything more about that, do you?
No.
We got Galarian Moltres V. Very still a useful Pokemon in the Roaring Moon, right?
And it's seen play in Lost Zone. In my opinion, it's like really bad in Lost Zone, but it's seen play.
Because besides doing decent damage at 190, it accelerates an energy to itself each turn. So that's good. And then the GOAT from the set, and that's Rapid Strike Malamar. You knew that was coming.
I honestly forgot about that card. I kind of blocked
you
that.
Blocked it out. How can you?
That's a card that I just it's not.
You hate it more than Avery, don't you?
Yeah, no, I don't hate Avery. I just think Avery's bad. I do think Malamar's Malamar I lose to though sometimes.
So you hate it. Malamar's not bad, right? You'll acknowledge it's not bad.
It kind of is bad. I think it's kind of bad. I think most of the time when I play it, I still beat it. But sometimes opponents just rolled me. It's like a single prize deck. It's kind of
right. It was.
I don't know. It's just.
It was probably it was the top single prize deck for a decent while, probably, right? Back in the day when single prize decks were all garbage, though.
Yeah. Well, no, they're pretty much all garbage now as well, except for Lost Zone and Control.
Yeah, but back when all the top decks were 3 prize, 300 plus HP Pokemon, single prize was almost unthinkable, right?
Yeah.
So it was fun. I liked playing. It was a Rapid Strike that relied upon other Rapid Strike cards to do damage. Stage 1 attacks for 1 energy, so relatively easily to set up. Very linear deck. That's probably why you don't like it. It had 1 Pokemon to attack with that had 1 attack, and you just did that every turn.
Yep.
All right. That's it for Chilling Reign, right? We gotta.
I feel like there are a few more you want to talk about. I'll talk about them real quick.
Okay.
Blaziken VMAX with Zeraora. That was a thing you kind of liked. Mostly Blaziken.
Yeah.
It accelerates.
Right. Rapid Strike that accelerated other Rapid Strike.
Yep, we had Cinderace. That got me lots of views, so I like that card. Then we have your boy Sandaconda VMAX.
Yeah, I didn't put it down. I mean, I like it, but it wasn't very good.
Yeah, we got my boy Metagross VMAX. That card was kind of bad.
Yeah.
I had a tournament where I played in it, and my opponent didn't realize till 5 turns into the game that they were playing as Control. I won, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Justified Gloves actually does see some play as well. That's the dark gloves.
Yeah, I still see those pop up occasionally with things.
Yeah. I think that's about it. Old Cemetery is rotating, but I think there's a card like it. There might not be. It's not that good.
Yeah, it certainly saw us play sometimes, but yeah.
What is this? Okay. I'm sorry. I was just looking through stuff.
Okay.
Next up, we got Evolving Skies. In my opinion, one of the best sets ever. So I was talking with somebody this set's bad. I don't know if I don't know. I think it's really good. It had a lot of really good VMAXs. I'll just run through them. Leafeon VMAX.
And Leafeon V was good too, don't forget. Right?
Yeah,
because it
Leafeon
had
V
greedy
was
cells
good.
to accelerate a grass energy, so.
Yeah, but then VMAX was arguably one of the best grass Pokemon we've seen since Vileplume, 10 years ago.
Yeah, that might not say much though. There wasn't anything in between.
No. But it was there's some okay things, but it was good. There was Gyarados VMAX saw a little bit of play. Vaporeon VMAX saw a little bit of play. Suicune V in era VMAXs, it was really good as well, paired with Ludicolo, which buffed the damage of Suicune V. Glaceon VMAX, in my opinion, a little underrated. It's okay. There was Jolteon VMAX, a spread-based VMAX,
Yeah,
really good.
which I like, and it's still not a bad. You know, try it with Iron Valiant. There's some certainly synergy there.
Yep. And then you have Draco's Ult VMAX, super unpleasant deck to play against. You just like Cheryl over and over. Um,
Yes.
then there is Espeon VMAX,
Mhm.
kind of a weird card. It's kind of been reprinted as this attack and ability. It's a tech card. Sylveon VMAX, which was Rapid Strike VMAX, kind of like Rapid Strike
Mhm.
Boxy, but you could pretty much put whatever you wanted in it. Kind of like Rainbow Road, that deck. And
Mhm.
then Uncommon Fossil, you don't know what Rainbow Road is, do you?
I forget. Go ahead. I kind
No,
of.
it's a Xerneas. I don't think you.
Okay.
It's
No.
it's an older deck. It's not
All
like
right.
that old, but it's anyway. And then Umbreon VMAX, Lycanroc VMAX. Lycanroc VMAX is not great, but it's seen a little bit of play here and there.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, but no, Umbreon VMAX is super good.
Yeah. That one very
Um,
good. Partly just for its ability, Dark Signal, that would gust your opponent when you
yep.
played
Oh,
it.
and it's single strike as well.
Yes.
Garbodor VMAX Notorious had like I don't know if I'd say notoriously, but I had like a glitch that like crashed the game. Quasi VMAX the Notorious flop, probably the
Yeah.
most typed VMAX from the set,
This,
and probably like 10th best.
I don't even
Um,
know. Oh, for V Max. Yeah, not
yeah.
V, but it could be. I mean,
And then Duraludon VMAX was pretty good as well. Actually, very good. Just one of the better
that was
ones in the
probably the
set.
best V Max from this set, I think. Right?
Maybe I'd probably put Jolteon above it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not
Maybe.
a big fan of it, but I guess it is really
Yeah,
good.
Jolteon was one of the top decks for a period of time, and
Yeah.
you had the badges, which we need to mention, like with the cards like Jolteon and whatnot, right? For
Oh
all
yeah.
these were different Pokemon specific. These were all ones that were evolutions. Is that correct?
Yeah. So each of the evolution VMAXs had there was Elemental badge for
Vaporeon,
Flareon Jolteon.
Jolteon, Flareon attack for
Yep.
one
And
less. So yeah.
yeah, which is super nice. Moon and Sun badge for Umbreon and Espeon, which
Hmm.
was that free retreat and no, that was no, sorry, you
That was
can't be
no
like
gusting,
gusting.
right?
Yeah, plus some I think other stuff. There was a ribbon badge, super good honestly, but like never saw it play.
Right for
You give up what?
Sylveon
Yeah, you give up one
and
less prize, just absurd.
yeah.
I think it works on Dark Sylveon V. Wait, is that a card? That might not. So, maybe. And anyway, so there's and then there's
Hmm.
the Snow Leaf badge for Glaceon and Leafeon, giving you
Hmm.
Fierce Retreat and no weakness, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you mention Sylveon VMAX when you were rolling through them? I missed. I don't know if you
Yeah,
did.
I did.
And that one also had
There's
a
a lot.
V that was playable too, because it had the V with Dream Gift, where you searched your deck for an item and ended your turn. Right. So that was an option in some decks too.
Yeah, honestly, I think does it see play because people. It's like there's Rotom V, and they're like super similar.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like they're uh, pretty close, but people mostly just play Rotom.
Yeah. Yeah. Brotom's simple and easy. Depending on the deck, probably the Sylveon V could be better.
Yeah.
Um,
And then let's see, any other cards you want to talk about from this set?
well, okay, just quickly, like Pokemon, you said Suicune V or no?
Yeah, I think I said all the V's and V Maxes there of note.
Okay. I mean, Ludicolo with its
I
ability.
also said that.
All right. See, you went too fast for me. Did you say Flaffy? That one is,
Oh, I did not say Flappy. That one's pretty good.
and obviously seeing a lot of play now, so that's a loss for those Miraidon decks.
Yeah,
You
honestly, I don't think Rhydon's gonna be good without Flappy. Like, I think it'll be okay. I'm not a big Rhydon lover either. I think it's kind of
yeah,
mediocre.
and I'm not a Flaffy lover just because those single prize Pokemons like that I always had found didn't work off enough. Did you
Like, oh
mention?
no, not Comfy, not Drizzile. Oh,
No, well, Comfy's a basic. It's the stage ones,
that's
right?
oh yeah,
So Metachan V, just throw that out. That's still obviously important,
yeah, good with Iron Valiant.
right? And you did. I don't think you mentioned Pumpkaboo.
I did not know. I mostly mentioned the V, but Kubu's not that good right now, in my
No, I
opinion.
know. Justin
Because we
Basil.
have lost Vacuum.
No, I agree. It hasn't seen play in a while, really. But Justin Basil put it in bold as it being important loss. With Galarian Moltres, did you say that one?
I did not. No, I mostly said the
That
V's.
single prize
Glenn Moltres is
Moltres
pretty good.
that was good in some is dark decks. Flapple with acid mucus attack, and that goes in
And
your.
Appleton as well, with thick mucus,
Mhm.
punching special energies. Flapple has been like reprinted, not exactly reprinted, but with the Scizor, which is actually, in my
Okay,
opinion, like super good.
yeah, and
I'm probably gonna make a whole video on it at some point, but
did you mention Zoroark? That's
no,
you,
yeah.
you,
Sorry,
you
good,
got to
but
mention that's like your guy, right?
It is. No, I just mentioned the V Maxes and
Okay.
a few Vs.
All right. So you want to say more about Zoroark or no?
Yeah, Zoroark is the best Pokemon of all time.
That never
No,
works.
it is a no. Yeah, this card is really wacky. Phantom Transformation. Once during a turn, it chooses stage 1 Pokemon and you discard it, except Zoroark. If
Yeah.
I remember correctly, that didn't work in live. You could choose Zoroark, but so you choose it. And if you do, discard this Pokemon, and I'll attach cards and put the
Hmm.
chosen Pokemon quote in its place.
Yep.
But you don't like keep the energy, so it gives you some versatility. Like a lot of versatility.
Right.
You can play it in control. You can play it in obviously attacking.
Hmm.
It didn't really set up very well, like at all. It was pretty terrible, pretty consistently.
Yeah, I mean, it was trying for control. It never was quite there. You could obviously trying to build weakness box decks to hit for weakness, but it never. It was. It had promise, kind of like people always thought Rayquaza would be the big thing. Except people quickly gave up on Rayquaza. There was a bunch of people that never gave up on Zoroark, right?
Well, no, it was like every set. No, honestly, like Zoroark is okay. It's
It,
not like that good, but like every
yeah,
set, it gets new cards, and so every set it
right.
gets hype.
And
Um,
it's never. It's a bit of a trap though, right? To me, it
yeah,
doesn't.
it's fun. It's kind of
It is
not the
fun.
best.
Look, it took me a while to get kind of in the swing of it, so I can play Zoroark decks now. I still, you know, the win rate isn't any better than playing those Donk decks, but 50% in my case. But you know, it's fun.
Yeah. Let's see. I think there's a jump off rotating, which is kind of funny. There is also my low deck, which stops hand disruption. Potentially
Right.
that could be important. It's seen play here and there. It's a really interesting card. Is it good? I'm not really sure, but it's pretty. It's okay. It stops support and hand disruption, I should say.
Right. And I'm trying to think, is there a new supporter that might like that? Might like that
Or like
ability,
like
or new that would like that, or is there a new card we want protection from? I don't know. I don't know if there's a
there's
reason.
the yeah area which like get sort of like items,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I mean, like the biggest things I don't know. And then in terms of
Yeah.
trainers, I think there's one trainer, and that's Raihan. Raihan is like so good. It's if one of your Pokemon is knocked out last turn, extract a basic energy from a discard to that to one of your Pokemon,
Yeah.
and then you search check for any card. It's really good. We've seen cards like it, and they've
Hmm.
all been pretty good. And Raihan might be the best of them. You can play it. It's like good in every deck.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss Raihan. Well, basic. Well, it's best. Obviously, you have the basic energy, and it really is most sense in single prize decks, right?
That's
But
true, but it sees a lot of play in multi-prize decks as well. Like
yeah,
Arceus, I'm looking through the list. We got a lot of Lost Zone, which is single prize E. We got lots of Arceus. We got some Miraidon. We got Palkia. We have Charizard. We have
yeah.
Zoroark.
I don't think it's seen as much attention as it should have. I gotta say.
I don't know. It's seen a bunch. It's one of the. It's probably top 10 most played supporters right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just very good.
yeah. I mean, look, the other cards that I'm gonna miss, Raihan's the best for sure. Well, Crystal Cave for healing for certain metal and lightning, metal and
Yeah,
dragon. Right. I'm sorry.
yeah, Metal Dragon, and then for Lightning Dragon, you have Story Mountains, which is a thing.
That's a meaningful loss for some
Fine.
decks, right?
Yeah, it's a
That was
meaningful
good.
loss. Rip
Um,
Control. No,
Full face guard losing that. I'm sure you played that some, right? 20 less if you
yeah,
had no
but
ability. Just saying.
it's not that good.
Zinnia's Resolve. I thought that was useful in some decks that didn't want to discard the full hand, but wanted to discard summon draw. And
Yeah,
you
Zinnia's
never
Resolve
like.
honestly is pretty decent. I think it's something that I've never really loved playing, but like it's a decent card.
And I'm gonna miss Rescue Carrier. I know you're a hater,
Uh,
but you don't like those type of low HP
that's
Pokemon.
not necessarily true. I play Lost Zone.
So put two 90 Pokemon 90 HP or less directly into your hand. Very good, right? Certainly, it was a key to Malamar. I don't need to say anything more than that, do I?
Yeah, let's move on. So the next up we got Celebrations. I'll talk about this one real quick.
Yep.
We're losing. I'm just gonna run through a bunch of cards. We're losing Kyogre, which snipes. It's fine. I'm not a big fan of it.
It's
But
hard
it's
to set
decent.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Flying Pikachu, VMAX World Champion.
Yep.
Is fine. It was good at one time. Mew from Celebrations is that's a decent engine card. I'm honestly not a big fan of
That's the
it, but
biggest
it's
loss though from the set, I
well.
think.
There's also Zacian V. Zacian V is an attacker in Gardevoir. It
Yeah.
doesn't do the same as Gardevoir, Baby Gardevoir. Both are quite good.
Right. Yeah, we are missing we're losing the surfing Pikachu as well. I didn't put that down. I just liked
Yeah.
it, but it's terrible.
Yeah, we're losing Yveltal as well, which discards special energy. Potentially it's an okay card, but we've got like we got
Hmm.
Giacomo and Flannery. Or
Well,
no, is it Giacomo?
I think Giacomo. Well,
Oh,
Yveltal was
Giacomo.
an important control card back when special energies was important, which is obviously why Beedrill was good because the special energies in format. It was a good anti-Mew card for one thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but that's it for
Um,
celebrations, I think, right?
yeah. And then lastly, we got the set, Fusion Strike.
Yep.
I don't know, what does there say? There's some UV Max, Genesect V,
Right.
Fusion Strike Energy, Meloetta, Elisa Sparkle, Val VIP Pass, Cross Switcher, Chromatic. Um, like, I mean,
Right, a lot of stuff. Look, right, obviously there's the Mew deck, so I don't think we need to talk about that any more than what it is, right? Chromatic, right?
yeah.
Cross switcher seeing uptick, I would say. Look, Battle VIP pass is obviously a big loss. You think Buddy Poffin kind of replaces it. I don't think it fully replaces it. Some people
I
act
mean,
like
not
it's
fully. I think it's pretty close. I think it is very close to it. I mean, I always miss Valve. Like if I play it, I like never hit it turn one. So like
that's the
anything's better.
thing. Yeah, I don't like it because it's very high roller. You hit it like if you hit two your first turn, you must win, and
Well,
like
no,
your
I feel
opponent
like
hits two
I
and you
hit
hit
two, and I
none,
just
and I just you're kind of ready to scoop at that point.
yeah, no, I feel like I hit like two. I don't even need like four basic Pokemon. So,
Yeah.
um, and then no, and then I play and my opponent like hits all their Battle VIP passes, and then they go on and like hit like four, like they hit
Hmm.
four electric generators, get like 8 energy, and all of a sudden like I lose.
Yeah.
No, but like that's a card.
There's a few other cards I want to hit quickly from the set. I don't know. There's Skaters Park that obviously some play now, right? That will.
Well, it did. I don't. It doesn't really see that much play right
I've seen
now.
a little. Gengar VMAX single strike that was counter to Mew, I guess. That
Yeah,
certainly
Gengar
saw
was pretty
play.
good, and then I think I'll toss in Inteleon VMAX. Inteleon VMAX is pretty
Yes.
good,
Oh
but
yeah. Yeah. I mean that and Urshifu now with Metacham is definitely a solid deck.
yeah, that is like the whole deck is rotating though. So
Right. Exactly. It's all going. Adventures Discovery was a good card. It didn't for some decks.
it was an okay card. I don't think like I think without Crobat V, like you kind of wanted some V Pokemon to draw cards. It was okay on a few
Yeah.
decks.
It,
Good for V unions, I guess.
which we need to not skip those completely, right?
Oh yeah, those are rotating.
Yeah, but
There we go. We covered them.
but we're also the other cards. Look, what's the Dunsparce's mysterious nest to protect your Arceus, right? From
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that card's that good.
it was important for a bit. It's not now. And then my two favorite cards right now that go with Iron Valiant: Super Dig Gotta Try It, Crabominable V, and Greedent V Max. Got
Yeah, I'd play
to
that. I played
play
it
it.
again. It was bad.
Oh, it's great. It's you're not good. It is so fun.
I'm not.
Look,
Um.
but I played it successfully. I don't know. Maybe your HP is higher than two or something than me. I mean, your Elo is higher than
Yeah. Yeah.
my non-existent Elo. Anyway,
Exactly. Um.
they're fun. And then we just have
Yeah.
the promo. No, and that's it. There's the promos. But we are losing the V unions, right?
Yeah.
Mewtwo was decent, and we are losing Professor Burnett. That came with it too.
Yeah.
And
Professor
Lugia still
Burnett's
plays it some, right?
okay. Yeah, I guess they do. I don't play Lugia, right? So
No.
oh, um yeah, I don't it's like fine. I'm looking at the promos. We're losing that's about it. We're losing both Fusion Strike Oricorios. Um
We're losing the bad single strike Urshifu V and Rapid Strike Urshifu V, right? They made the bad versions as promos for whatever reason, right?
yeah. I think we're losing the bad. There's some other bad promos. Yeah.
Was who?
There's the bad Shadow Rider and Ice Rider. I think the Shadow Rider is okay. The Ice Rider is pretty bad.
Yeah, as I'm looking through, most of them aren't good. And, obviously, just alternate arts too with things. Deoxys was that wasn't just a
No,
promo.
that
No,
that no, that was
that was
not.
just
No, I'm trying
yeah.
to look. I think there were some cards rotating that came out. Like they came out earlier, or that came out, no, that came out like last year. So there's Spicy Season Curry, right?
Oh yeah, and that
I think
one.
that's it. Like there's a few others, but that's the big one.
Okay.
Which burns your active and heals 40 from it. It's fine. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's good with the Zero Electrode V,
Right.
and it's okay with cloth, but you don't really need it with cloth, in my opinion.
It's easy to make it set up though, right? It's nice having it in the deck.
Yeah.
A cloth just that cloth Electro just won another decent sized tournament online, so it's not a bad deck.
Well,
Well, people, it's a fun deck. You've done it, right?
I don't think it's that fun.
Okay. It's
Oh,
look.
I was to say there's a one by Sajin, but no, I looked at the most recent event. It wasn't.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think we sped up as we went along, but I think we hit all the things that are big things to us, right?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think so. I'm trying to like think, but I can't do that. So, yeah, we hope you enjoyed the podcast though. If tell us if we missed anything, things that like cards that you liked. Oh, the
R-
Maractus is rotating. That's a card. But anyway,
Yeah,
so
because there's a number of cards. I have Justin Basil's whose site from his list of rotating cards. And he has a bunch of bold cards, some of which I didn't put down at all, which I don't think we mentioned because we just didn't
yeah,
happen to.
let's take a. I'm gonna like scroll through that real quick. Oh, there's like the Curlier.
Right, the
That's like
Curly that accelerates
mid.
other Curliest, but that's not the important one.
Yeah, there's Ice Cube. That like walls. No one like plays that.
Right. Deoxys, the Fusion Strike. I don't.
Yeah, that's not that good.
Yveltal from Fusion Strike. What's that one?
That's a single strike one. That's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
It's played in Lugia, but like the energy's rotating.
Okay.
No, I guess we didn't say power tablet. That's rotating.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I
That's
guess
obviously
important.
important to the
Oh,
mute.
Dragonite V, that promo is rotating, which is actually it came out in Evolving Skies, but it's not in Evolving Sky. It was a promo exclusive in
Oh,
Evolving
that's a
Skies.
promo only.
Um,
Okay.
well, no, it wasn't like the regular art is a promo exclusive. That's like good, I guess. I've never really loved it in
Lost Box.
yeah,
Right.
and it's kind of moved on to like Roaring Moon, but still it's pretty good.
Yeah. Look, it saw play in successful
Oh,
decks. A
Blunder
decent amount.
Policy is rotating. No,
I see. I love flippy coins. I mean, I hate them, but I like playing them occasionally. So, you
yeah,
know.
no, I think it's good that's rotating. If you flip tails, you should feel bad.
Yeah, no, that wasn't good. So,
I've definitely played it. It's
well, back when I was playing, was that in deck format with Maractus with all the coin
uh
flips, or did they
no,
miss? Okay,
they missed.
all right. Then why would I have
Or
played it?
no, wait, maybe they were. But not with. I don't know. I didn't play anyway. We hope you enjoyed the podcast though. And tell us what you think about rotation. What you think is gonna be good. At some point, we're gonna talk about what's good post rotation.
Right.
And obviously the new cards. Yeah, at some
Hmm.
point, tell us if you want us to talk about the new cards. We've talked about them some, but there are some we haven't. Like we didn't talk about time, which is gonna literally break the game. It's like not gonna work right in live. It's a bit unfortunate. It'll be funny. It's gonna be like so bad.
Yeah, we'll
It's
talk.
definitely gonna crash. Um,
And the other thing with rotation is a lot of new players. Hopefully, there's a lot of new players come to the game. That's always good. We'll be surprised by rotation. Last year, the number of comments on the forums for live, like how come my standard decks don't work anymore? We could place bets on the over under. Is it going to be like 100 comments that my deck doesn't work within like the first 2 days of rotation? It might be.
yeah. So yeah, like some commented on my video, and I was like, they were like, wait, so I can't like play this deck? And I was like, yeah, well, you can play like some of it, but not most of it. And they said because they're a new player, right? And you wouldn't necessarily know that. And
Right.
rotation's even complicated for like veteran players with some niche cards, but overall, it's a pretty simple concept. And
Yeah.
it can be annoying as well. There are formats that don't rotate, but well, there's really only one format, right? So,
Well, there's the
uh, uh,
expanded beta format, right?
there are different formats. So, yeah, you can play these cards. And as I said, like rotation to me, I don't know if I said this on today's episode, but rotation's not going to like completely upturn the meta. I think the new set honestly is going to have as much of an impact as the rotation will. But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to turn things up to that, which is good, I guess. Obviously, like losing Quickball a year ago, you got to shift around some. So, but yeah,
Yeah, but then you just play like nest ball, not the same, but similar.
right. It's not a whole new right. Whatever. It's not whatever you call it. It's not a whole new block starting. So that's probably why it's less impactful than last year's.
Yeah. But anyway, we hope you enjoyed the podcast. As we said at the beginning, subscribe, like, check out both our channels as well. We have content. We have different content on my channel, 10 Types. I talk about more new cards if you're interested in that. On Common Fossil, you talk about a lot of different decks.
Deck,
Specifically, I'm sure you're talking about the ones that are like rotating, right?
yeah, different decks and less powerful decks. I like, more rogue decks, and also the live economy. How is a but if you don't want to spend money, how you can get access to all the cards you want and still without spending money.
Yep. At the end, it's not like a scam. There are a lot of video. You search up like live, like I don't know, I think there are lots of scams. I don't
Right.
know if they're actually scams, just like not true, but they're like get infinite credits. You cannot get infinite credits, as far as I'm aware.
Right. I'm not mining glitches or anything. It's just it's not like you're going to spend all day playing the game either to be to get what you need.
Yeah, you just need like a degree in economics. No, you actually need that for like PCGO though. That was kind of bad, but
Yeah, that was rough, but this one's pretty good all in all. So, all right. But anyway, enough meandering at the end. So, hopefully, you like the podcast. Let us know, like 10 Type said, what cards you're going to miss because we didn't hit them all, or if ones we did say that you're going to miss more than we said, and have fun playing some Pokemon.
yep. See ya.